If you're listening to this tape, then that means you've likely come into the possession of a piece of very valuable Fazbear Entertainment memorabilia. And I'm not talking about some rare poster or a long-forgotten doll. No. We're talking about a real one. A real animatronic. Freddy Fazbear's was known for its high-tech animatronics, always the most lifelike and cutting-edge of their contemporaries throughout the years, but not always for the most up-and-up reasons, and never without risk. And now one or more of those animatronics are in your house. Survival will be difficult, but it's my job to help keep you alive alongside your new reluctant roommate. Welcome to the Taking Care of Your Animatronic Without Getting Killed Guide, Volume 2. In tape number 1, I discussed animatronics that might have been left behind during the disbanding of the Funtime service, which left numerous animatronics scattered across the country with no one coming to round them up. If your animatronic was acquired due to being left behind by the Funtime service, please stop the tape and play tape number 1. If you do not have tape number 1, well, that's unfortunate. Tape number 2 specifically covers other examples. These are animatronics who were likely left behind after the closure of a Freddy restaurant, or a spontaneous fire that robbed them of their show stage, and how you acquired the animatronic. Frankly, it doesn't matter. Assuming you survived long enough to get them home, I'm here to help you through the next steps. Because, see, you didn't just pick up a giant action figure to stick in the corner and ogle at. You didn't just find this golden ticket that you'll make millions off of selling at an auction house. It's not a toy. It's not a prop. This one's aware and you let it into your house, and for one reason or another, it won't leave. Whether it's the knowledge that it has nowhere to go, programming now forcing it to stay trapped in your home, or worse, it suddenly deciding that you will be its newest target. They're not all dangerous in the same way, but there are plenty of risks involved, and today I'm going to help you find out how to survive with your new animatronic roommate. And I'll be covering the most likely examples of animatronics you'll stumble upon scouring through the dump and urban exploring. But before I do, let's get 3 things out of the way. 3 rules, if you would. Number 1, respect the animatronics. They may not have souls like humans do. Well, not all of them. But many of them have gentle hearts and empathic personality chips. They're not mindless animals. At least not many of these ones are, so treat them well. Number 2, do not try to dismantle, shut down, or fight any animatronic on your own. It will not go well. Number 3, this one is the most important. Do not reach out to Fazbear Entertainment for help, repairs, anything. They will not help you. In fact, they'll do the exact opposite. So let's get started. We'll go through each animatronic and their behavior, risk assessment, living requirements, maintenance and cleaning procedures, and the best way to approach them. We're going to start with the animatronics you may come into possession of if you live near or visit a closed-down pizzaplex. So I'm sure you've heard of the mass closings of Freddy Fazbear's mega pizzaplexes across the country, largely due to faulty machinery leading to lawsuits and Fazbear Entertainment not wanting to spend money to get everything up to date. This means that these buildings have been mostly abandoned, along with the written-off machinery inside. And some of that machinery is either severely broken or slightly dirtied animatronics. Venture inside and you may find an abandoned bot programmed to serve guests, meaning that they will lock themselves onto you and follow you home. Some rather safe, others not so much. Even if you live near a pizzaplex, you might have a nighttime visitor when a lost animatronic is lured up to your house by your lights, the flickering of your TV through the curtains, or maybe just the sound of someone moving inside the house. Someone is wandering up to your door, but who is it? Well, it may be the star of the pizzaplex himself, the main man and lead bear, Glamrock Freddy. This Papa Bear can be a real sweetheart, whether it be chatting you up or listening to you talk. Freddy's also super helpful, though he can be a tad clumsy, so expect him to assist in helping with chores, cooking, and the like, but occasionally expect him to fumble just a little bit, or needing more hands-on directing. Remember, he's used to working at a sprawling pizzaplex. He knows how to perform most tasks, but he's not used to doing them in such a closed-in space. Glamrock Freddy is, by all accounts, the safest choice of all of the animatronics on this list, well, except maybe Mr. Hippo and Helpy. And the closest thing you'll have to a typical human roommate. Well, of a large talking golden retriever. with some notable caveats. Living space requirements. Glamrock Freddy requires a little extra space due to his tall and large structure, and like I said, he may accidentally bump into stuff, though he does try to take care to not do so, meaning he will knock over a TV trying to not knock over a lamp. And if it's a standing lamp, you might walk in on him pretending it's a microphone stand and singing into it, which will no doubt embarrass him, which risks him dropping it. So try to watch at a distance. Freddy is polite enough to stay in any rooms you request him to, but without proper stimulation and attention, he will get bored and depressed. If you live in a small house or apartment, the best choice is to stick him in the living room so that he can at least see you often and have access to the TV. He may wander outside to get the mail or greet neighbors unless you specifically tell him not to. And this can be a disaster if the neighborhood has a lot of kids. Not because Freddy is dangerous, but because kids will flock to him like seagulls on a sandwich. Keep those shades drawn. Risk assessment. Freddy has virtually no risk unless he is somehow hacked, which is very rare, or if he is under maintenance. Basically, pay attention to make sure he's not acting strange, and don't do maintenance unless it's a dire situation. Speaking of cleaning and maintenance, Glamrock Freddy does a good job of keeping himself clean, but you can help with cleaning wipes. He prefers orange scented, but you can also do general citrus. As for maintenance, so there's a few issues here. First off, most maintenance on Glamrock Freddy can't be performed without either a full repair module or at least some specific tools that can be used to pop open his casing. Those you may be able to buy secondhand, but the biggest issue is that, like with most animatronics, Glamrock Freddy loses all safety precautions when opened up for repairs. He might lash out without realizing it. So it's best to resist repairs and, if extremely necessary, seeing if you can hire someone else to do it, someone who knows what they're working on. But don't worry, because Freddy is very sturdy. Why, he could be nothing but a head and would probably still be very chatty. So just take care to keep him clean and all should be good. And if your Freddy is a head, make sure to remove the body quickly. They can become unstable. And take extra care to shower your Freddy's head in attention and affection until you can either figure out a replacement or take out his personality chip and put it into something else, such as a stable Helpy model. Behavior with other animatronics. Glamrock Freddy gets along with practically everyone, and even those he doesn't, he will be polite with. And only firm if they step out of line. He's a bit of a pushover with his friends, the Glamrocks. He's very close with Glamrock Bonnie and will help tend to his needs. He's frightened of the daycare attendant, but will be cordial and perhaps eventually friendly with him. He will stand up to any troublemakers and be very protective of you. In fact, assume Glamrock Freddy will be your muscle. Metaphorical muscle, since he's pretty docile. If you're planning on getting more than one animatronic, Freddy's a safe bet. The best way to approach. Glamrock Freddy is one of the few animatronics who doesn't really need anything to get close to. Just be generally nice and patient with him, and he'll warm up to you fast. Here's some words from a Glamrock Freddy owner. Gregory writes, Glamrock Freddy is the coolest guy ever. He's super strong, super tough. He's like a superhero but a bear robot instead of a human. He's the best friend you can ever have, and he'll always be there for you. I know, because he's always been there for me. With that glowing review, there you go. Glamrock Freddy is a great choice for a companion and roommate. All he requires is a little TLC and patience to be the best buddy you can have. But the rest of the Glamrocks may need a little more work. Next up, there's Glamrock Chica, the bubbly chick with an enormous appetite and a passion for fitness. At least, that's what it says on the posters, but the real Glamrock Chica is much more complicated. On a good day, she's arguably the most friendly and excitable of the Glamrocks. The kind who will want to encourage you to get in shape, bake cupcakes with you, play you a song on the electric guitar, if you have one she can use, and be a nice friend to talk to, even if she can be occasionally a little bit of an airhead. The issue is, instead, her food addiction. Glamrock Chica was programmed to love food, but it has quickly become the only thing she can think about, with a constant hunger and not enough food on hand to fill it for long. And there comes the risk associated with Glamrock Chica. On a good day, she's great. On a bad day, when she gets hungry, she can flip. She can get snippy at best, but at worst, she might throw you over just to get to your fridge. might raid your house, might storm out of your house to find food, will gorge on your garbage, and then will collapse on your couch for nap time. And to repeat, yes, she will eat your garbage. From the can, no matter how old or rotten it is. So yeah, Chica is a bit of a handful. You're taking on a lot more than just a sweetheart. You're taking on someone who has a bit of baggage and a habit she can't kick. Unless you go in for a whole reprogramming lobotomy, which you don't want to do and really can't. But if you're willing to work with her quirks, you'll get a real cupcake out of it. Living space requirements. Glamrock Chica doesn't need any more space than the average human. She has a slender build and isn't clumsy, so she won't really knock into anything unless she's charging to get food. She will get into any food you leave out, even if she promises not to. She can't help it. Which also means that she will routinely scour your kitchen and gorge on everything you have. Locking up your food won't work. Your best case scenario instead is to buy a lot of cheap or easy to make food to fill her up with, and maybe you'll save yourself a nighttime ransacking. Something like rice covered in pizza sauce. That's cheap, and it smells like pizza, and should keep Chica from getting grumpy. Also, make sure to keep your trash in a can outside and dispose of it frequently so Chica doesn't get into it. Maybe separate your strong-smelling trash from the rest and dispose of that on the daily. Elsewise, she'll get into it, tear it apart, and come back reeking of it. Risk assessment. Glamrock Chica is an interesting case because when she's well-fed, there's virtually no risk. Even if she gets grumpy about something, you're not at much of a risk of her doing anything more than giving you angry eyes and crossing her arms. Unless she's, say, hacked or hungry. Once she gets hungry enough, she becomes zombie-like. I'm pretty convinced that if you smelled like pizza, she'd try to take a bite out of you.
Just a little nibble.
So yes, keep her well fed. If it's between your fridge and you prefer a happy Chica. Cleaning and maintenance. Chica might get a little dirty and scuffed up, and this can usually be fixed with a few squirts of window washing fluid and a wipe down with some paper towels. The problem is, unlike Freddy, who will just get like a mild amount of debris on him just existing, Chica will probably get caked in food a lot more often. And well, the trash. The trash is a problem. See, not only will her eating trash cause her to stink and give her literal garbage breath, but because you're not at the Pizzaplex and don't have the repair capsule to work on her, there's virtually no way for you to crack her open and get the trash out of her. She will fill up and get stuck with it. And at best, that leads to stink, and at worst, that could lead to a major malfunction. A total stuffed chicken scenario. And then you'll have to either drive to a closed Pizzaplex, break in and repair her yourself, if the place is functional to do so, or more than likely, spend exorbitant amounts of money finding a technician capable of doing so outside of the Pizzaplex. I can't stress it enough, keep trash away from Chica, because if she gets filled up with it, guess what? She can't eat. But she'll still be hungry, and that will lead to a very hangry chick and no way to satiate her. Behavior with other animatronics. Glamrock Chica will get along with practically everyone, the Glamrocks for sure. She's one of the only animatronics who not only gets along really well with Sun, but is sort of unbothered and unfazed by Moon. So she's a great match in a home with a daycare attendant because she will actively guard you from Moon, while also entertaining Sun. She also gets along shockingly well with Nurse Dollie, even if Nurse Dollie seems to get a little standoffish around her. Probably because of the garbage thing. Nurse Dollie is really into recycling, but this isn't the sort of recycling she's down with. The best way to approach? Just be nice and keep her well fed. Really, if you can manage her issues with food, then things should be fine. Keep the garbage situation under control. There's also one thing you can do to keep her mind off of food, and that's by encouraging other interests, such as playing music. Chica can actually play a real electric guitar. One made for her is best, and you can usually buy one at a pricey auction online. Or you could buy a normal one, and she could probably learn how to play it after some practice. This is an excellent distraction and outlet for her that doesn't involve eating pizza while doing squats in the living room. Just make sure you're okay with her shredding through the day. Let's hear a few words from a Glamrock Chica companion. Marla writes, Glamrock Chica is a total sweetheart. The whole food thing is a non-issue. We exercise together, we bake cupcakes together, she eats most of them, but every night is girls' night. Also, see a technician about opening her up and putting a bag inside of her for easy food removal. It works like a charm. And there you have it. If you can live with the garbage thing and the zombie thing, you'll get a real chill chick. Unlike the seemingly chill but actually quite heated Montgomery Gator, another Glamrock band member who you might find yourself housing, Monty's the type who will let himself in and then flip it to make it sound like he's doing you a favor, being a big bad Glamrock plopping on your puny couch. But maybe he has a point, if he can keep his temper in check. On his good days, Monty's a sly Gator who just wants to lounge around and doesn't want to be bothered. But on his bad, when his temper flares up, oof, you'll be looking at some damage. Monty simply can't keep himself restrained and will lash out at anything within arm's length, smashing TVs, shredding couches, headbutting walls, slamming both of his fists down on your bathroom sink and shattering it like a cracked egg. You'll be walking on eggshells. Thankfully, Monty himself also has a bit of an ego and sucks up attention and compliments like a sponge. It's hard to keep him down once he's in the midst of a fit, but you can maybe keep him from getting there by buttering him up and treating him like a real rock star. He has a bit of a rivalry with Glamrock Freddy, so telling him that he's better than Freddy is a quick way of getting in his good graces. But don't mention him much, and don't bring up Bonnie at all. Monty can play the bass and does like compliments when he does, but he's not like Chica. He won't regularly practice and will get offended if you suggest as much. He's more fond of the banjo than the bass, but he won't admit to it. You can try buying him one, but don't give it to him directly or he might get defensive. Monty also shares Chica's ability to snack. He won't eat like she does though. It's more to give him something to chew on than to fill his gullet. He likes tortilla chips, so your best bet is to just buy a couple of big bags and let him casually munch on them when he gets the urge. You'll have to deal with chip crumbs, but that's better than cleaning raw steak out of his teeth. Living space requirements. Monty requires a bit more space than Freddy and Chica, because while he and Freddy share body types, Monty is going to want to Gator lounge around the house. He's also got his tail that will smack into things. He might apologize on a good day, but it's still going to happen. He'll also get frustrated on stuck doors or locked ones and barge his way through, even if he doesn't need anything from the room he's barred out of. Though normally he'll stay in the living room. He might try to submerge himself in your bathtub, but A, he won't fit well, and B, he's going to get water everywhere, and C, there's nothing you can do about it. He is largely waterproof though, so don't worry about him short-circuiting. Risk assessment. Admittedly, your furniture is more at risk than you are, but he can lash out if you guys get in a heated argument or if you really tick him off. Even though he will probably aim for your stuff before aiming at you. But Monty's not entirely in control of his puffed up power, so it's better to just keep him chill and not take the risk. Due to his habit of chewing on random stuff, if somehow you do get bit by him, you should immediately go to the emergency room. You'll require a tetanus shot if yours isn't up to date, and likely a short course of antibiotics. Cleaning and maintenance. Monty can be cleaned with a quick wipe down, and if you frame it as though you're his roadie who'd be honored to squeegee your hero, he'll have no qualms with you doing it. He also really likes when you comb his mohawk, makes his tail wag. Make sure you do this in an open room with few valuable items. He can comb his own hair, but it won't elicit the same effect. Like I said, Monty is largely waterproof due to being stationed in a mini golf course with a lot of water features. It's just safer that way. So don't worry about him getting wet if he does try to get into your bathtub. Showers are doable too. The only real maintenance concerns you should have with Monty in your house, assuming it is one floor or at least has no drops leading directly onto concrete, is that sometimes his teeth may come loose. Needless to say, this greatly upsets Monty and he will become frustrated and chew more. If a tooth becomes loose, you can either remove and superglue it back in, or try to purchase a replacement to properly be screwed back in. Do the one until you can do the other. Behavior with other animatronics. Monty gets along well with Glamrock Chica and Roxanne Wolf, but will get more easily agitated around Glamrock Freddy. He gets along fine with Sun and Moon as well. In a weird twist of fate, Mr. Hippo, who is considered notorious in his long-windedness and inability to take a hint, doesn't aggravate Monty, and he seems to get along with him well. In fact, having a Mr. Hippo in the house might even him out. Though he will become frantic and defensive if there's a Glamrock Bonnie housed with him. The best way to approach. First off, Monty loves compliments and probably won't notice if they're forced. Butter him up, treat him like a rock star, and keep him stacked in chips. If he gets angry at something, the best thing you can do is offer to help, and if shot down, back away slowly and keep a wide berth until he calms down. Some of his anger is due to programming bugs, so in that case you won't be able to do anything. Though if he gets depressed about being forgotten by Freddy's, feel free to approach and cheer him up with a few words about how cool he is and some mohawk combing. Now here are a few words from a former Monty owner. Carlton writes, okay, there's a scratched out portion here that says something. It says he's messy and loud and keeps breaking stuff. But, oh, that's scratched out too. Okay, ignore that, all that's scratched out. The rest says, he's a real cool dude, he scared off some burglars, he does a really cool air guitar, and he's able to open a pickle jar with his teeth. The dude is a real bad to the bone guy. I wouldn't return him for anything. Good, because that'd be really hard to do nowadays. So if you want a little bit of a tough case with no doubt a soft center hiding underneath, Monty's your man. But there's another rock star looking for a home, and this one, like Monty, is both incredibly cool and an incredibly complicated case once you get down to the sharing a living space thing. And that's the ever-popular Roxanne Wolf. Odds are, if you're a Freddy's fan, Roxy is probably high on your list for wanted roommates. But you're biting off more than you can chew with this diva. Roxy can be a little brash and demeaning of strangers, and very high maintenance. But there is a good heart hiding underneath all of that, and once you earn her trust, you'll forever have her loyalty. But to do that, you'll have to live up to her standards. Roxy doesn't want to be treated like a roommate. She wants to be treated like a rock star, like the best, without the groveling. She may ask you to help touch up her makeup or her claws, and she may get offended if you don't throw her compliments every now and then, but if you start getting too cheesy with it, too phony with it, if she thinks you're just trying to butter her up, she might get a little offended at your antics. So make sure to be sincere with your efforts. Also note, she will need to be supplied with beauty products, makeup, fingernail polish, shampoo, conditioner, a slew of decent hairbrushes and combs to cycle through. If you can get any of those from Fazbear Entertainment, she will be exceptionally pleased. But otherwise, you'll have to order the goods online. They're going to cost a pretty penny, but it will be worth it. Also, be sure to show her a lot of seemingly genuine attention, until she makes it clear that she wants to be alone. Then you get the heck out of there. She may soak up admiration like a sponge, but she's still a lone wolf at heart. Speaking of, don't be surprised if Roxy sneaks out at night to go for runs. She's not foolish enough to let herself get caught, but it's always a risk when you've got one of the most popular Freddy and Friends characters jogging around your neighborhood. Try to be encouraging because there's no way you're going to get her to stop. Finally, Roxy is an excellent guitar player, but she has other hobbies and interests that sit higher up than playing. You can get her one to give her something to do, but it's not as necessary as, say, Glamrock Chica. And without betraying too much, do note that Roxy is not as shallow as this seems. She just has trouble shaking that tough girl persona. If you're the one who can get through to her, you might find someone softer and sweeter than you could have ever expected. But don't touch her hair or tail without permission or you're roadkill. Living space requirements. Roxy physically doesn't require a lot of space, but she will need her own room. She won't be content just staying in the living room. She wants to go wherever she wants, and she needs a place of her own to go when she wants to be alone. If you have a second bedroom, you're all set. You just need to help her get it set up, and then you're good to go. But if you don't, you may be looking at giving up your own bedroom. Trust me, if it's between living with a tense Roxanne Wolf and sleeping on the couch, you'll want to sleep on the couch. Other than that, you'll want to keep your house clean. She might be approving or disapproving of your choice of furniture or carpet, but she won't be truly disgusted unless you're living in a pigsty, and she won't be the one cleaning it at 2 a.m. You don't want to get on Roxanne's bad side, and if you want to get on her good side, take her advice and get with the times. Risk assessment. As long as she's not hacked or you do something like disfiguring her, Roxanne's not exactly dangerous. You have a good chance of ticking her off, and she will remember if you've wronged her for a long time, and is way too proud to let it go without you really working for it. But you would have to do something extreme to get her to the point of attacking you. And if you did, there's no way you'll outrun her. Cleaning and maintenance. Roxy does her own cleaning and absolutely won't accept maintenance from anyone who doesn't have a Fazbear technician certification and an NDA to not tell anyone they saw her less polished side. But you will be on the hook for beauty and hair care products, as I said before. Behavior with other animatronics. Roxy gets along with the other Glamrocks, but honestly, she would probably prefer to be on her own if it's not them. If it's anyone too eager, too annoying, too up to mischief, she likely won't appreciate the company, and might even get in a tussle if they start something. In short, don't put her and Funtime Foxy in the same house together. Please, for the love of God, don't put Roxy and Funtime Foxy in the same house together. Best way to approach. Treat Roxy like a queen, but don't come off too weaselly or like a kiss-up. You'll earn more smooches with respect than you do with overzealous pleasantries. But that doesn't mean to not coat her in compliments any chance you get. Just make sure they sound sincere. Respect her boundaries, give her her space, and if ever she starts to open up to you, you drop everything and give her your full undivided attention. Otherwise, she may not ever again. But let's hear some words from a current Roxy owner. Cassie writes, Roxy's the big sister I always wanted but never had. She helps me do my hair, and we do each other's nails while I tell her how school went. She's my best friend. Is that weird? I don't think it's weird. She's really cool. She is, Cassie, and she would be an excellent addition to any household, as long as you can keep up with her. But on to the final member of the Glamrock band, Glamrock Bonnie, the classic bassist. This bowling bunny is friendly and chill, with a slightly sarcastic side for quipping when you miss that last pin, but he's a good sport, and great at shredding a bass. But the thing is, since most Bonnies have been pulled off of stage and refurbished due to Monty's increasing success, all it took was him taking off at one pizzeria before it spread across America, there's few Glamrock Bonnies left. There's only one that I know of, and if you have him, he's gonna be in quite a state. Treat a normal Glamrock Bonnie like a Freddy. He'll be rather mild, but crack bad jokes. Otherwise, you may find yourself homing a broken bunny. He's not able to walk or move. He's aware, you'll know when his eyes are lit that he's awake, and you might even be able to get him to talk with a little work, but you will have to take special precautions with this guy. Living space requirements. He doesn't really demand too much in the living space department unless you can get him repaired enough to move around. What you need instead is a comfortable area where Glamrock Bonnie can be laid out, preferably on a blanket so you can move him if you need to, and preferably with a TV nearby to help give him something to entertain him when you're not there. Risk assessment. Virtually none. Glamrock Bonnie is not currently in the state to do much. I suppose if you got him repaired... Honestly, I don't know much of anything about him, so he would be a wild card, but I doubt it. Not with how Glamrock Freddy talks about him. Cleaning and maintenance. Since Glamrock Bonnie can't really get into much, the biggest issue will be dust accumulation. Wiping down with wet wipes on the outside and air spray for the inside. As for maintenance, well, Glamrock Bonnie is nothing but maintenance now, and unless you know what you're doing, you should probably not touch anything. And if you are a Fazbear entertainment technician, you'll have your work cut out for you. Behavior with other animatronics. Glamrock Bonnie gets along extremely well with Glamrock Freddy and Glamrock Chica, and moderately well with Roxanne Wolf and the daycare attendant. He's scared of Monty and will not respond well to having him in the house. He is also scared of anyone or anything that might try to pilfer him for parts, as he doesn't have the means to defend himself. Shockingly enough, if you have a Glamrock Bonnie and a nurse Dollie in your home at the same time, Dollie will take over caretaking duties for Bonnie, and they will become extremely close. Glamrock Freddy will do the same, but Dollie stays in character as a nurse a little better than Freddy does. The best way to approach, just take care of Bonnie. Treat him as he is, a currently out-of-service bot who is still very aware and has a big broken heart that needs mending. Absolutely do not leave him alone in a room without any stimulation for long periods of time unless he directly requests it. Make sure a TV or a radio is always near him. Props if you can get a Bluetooth device to connect to him. Now a word from Bonnie's former owner. Jeremy writes, Bonnie was always my favorite. He's a great guy, really sweet with the kids and everything. It's a shame that this happened to him, and if I still could, I'd fix him in a heartbeat. Please give him a good home. Huh. He wrote his review on an old Pizzaplex map. That's neat. Anywho, you heard him. Glamrock Bonnie is still there, still alive, and still needs a little love and a lot of TLC to get back on his feet. And even if he doesn't, he'll make for a fantastic companion. Now on to the next and final Pizzaplex animatronic, and wouldn't you know it, we've got a 2-in-1 here. I'm talking about the Sun and Moon, also known as the daycare attendant. Yes, this is a 2-in-1, and that's literally in one body. Sunny side up and the dark side of the moon, Jekyll and Hyde, Mr. Sunshine on the cusp of burning out and the thing that haunts your nightmares. These two are both sides of the same coin. Sun is an energetic artiste who's a little fussy, a little bit of a control freak, and a ball of nervous energy. But there's a soft heart that's been worn down and needs a gentle touch. Moon is a wicked fool, cackling as he twists his body up like a pretzel, and with his mind set on only one goal, putting anything and everything down for a nap. It's more threatening than it sounds. There's a reason Sun fears losing control to him, and equally a reason why Moon wants the lights off, because the flick of a switch is all it takes to switch one to the other. They barely survive the daycare together. How are you going to survive their constant fights for control in your house? So, Sun is actually a great companion, and he'll gladly help out around the house. He's a neat freak, so he'll clean up, and will even cook if provided the ingredients to do so. You might come home to find that he has straightened up the entire house, including alphabetizing everything in your entire house. He's just goofy like that. Moon is a wicked little goblin, and depending on his mood and your behavior, can either take joy in spooking you, popping up on the ceiling, or out from under your bed, or if he really doesn't like you, he could, well, easily start snapping limbs. When Moon's feeling especially moody, he will do the opposite of Sun and break things, or even hide things in places you'll never find. You'll have to get Sun to help you out there. And Sun might equally get stressed out and snippy when he's overwhelmed. A good way to alleviate some of Sun's anxiety and give him something to do is by providing crafts, specifically felt and fabric for hand puppets. You might even help him make a little puppet theater. That'll brighten him right up. He also likes painting, and I don't just mean finger painting like in the daycare. He likes actual painting too, even though he does enjoy some childish activities due to his previous career. Remember, he is an adult and doesn't want to be talked down to. Moon isn't so simple to handle. In your first few weeks with him, be prepared to keep a flashlight on hand to drive him back if he decides to get too close, because he could easily break you down. But honestly, I think Moon's more in the line of tormenting and scaring you than getting too vicious. Maybe you could reach him? He is part of Sun after all, might as well try to warm up his cold side. Living space requirements. Sun doesn't require as much space as you would think because he's so used to working in cramped environments. He won't be pleased about a messy house though, so expect him to clean and reorganize it. And expect Moon to thwart this by sabotaging his efforts. Allowing Sun to put up a tent somewhere in the house to have as his own area that he has full control over will do wonders, so I recommend it. Make the offer and see what he wants. Probably a lot of pillows to get that padded floor aesthetic of the daycare. He'll appreciate it. The most important part is the lights, because Sun is out when the lights are on and Moon is out when they're off. Technically, you can use turned on lights to corral Moon away from your bedroom. Or if you can sleep with the lights on, you'll be pretty secure. But Moon's not stupid, so expect him to try to find a way around this, whether it be climbing in through your window or making a tool to hit the lights. Make sure to keep a flashlight close by with plenty of batteries, and not the Fazbear brand. Those go out of power in like 50 seconds. Risk assessment. Moon can be a threat, but considering that he's walled in when the lights are on and Sun is only a threat in how extra he can be, it's mitigated danger that most people can handle if they're careful and don't get too cocky. Don't risk provoking either of them though. Cleaning and maintenance, no need. The daycare attendant will clean himself as long as you provide the means. His shoes should be spot washed, his pants can be thrown in the washing machine on a delicate cycle. He knows all this and will remind you. Remove any bells before washing though. And, okay, we gotta talk about the light thing again. Now I know what you're thinking already. I can see it in your eyes. You're thinking, hey, if I leave the lights on 24/7, then Moon will never come out and all will be fine. No, it won't. See, the thing about Sun and Moon is that when one's out, the other is resting, recharging, recuperating. So Sun may not want to be stuck in nap time, but if he doesn't get time to shut down, he will be in serious trouble. It's the one way to keep them out of maintenance. Though on the whole, they're pretty sturdy. Just don't go messing around with things you know nothing about. Behavior with other animatronics. Sun gets skittish with other animatronics. Sometimes he gets bossy with them as well, which might lead to problems depending on who's there. The best matchups are with the Glamrocks. He'll also be a good caretaker to the Bidybabs and Helpy. He has trouble staying patient with Music Man and Mr. Hippo. Music Man and him will spend their days in petty squabbles. Don't put them together. The most surprising is Jackie. You would think, being a childish clown, that he would be able to provide the attention she needs. And Jackie really likes clowns. But Sun is extremely off-put by Jackie. He knows something you don't. So don't put them together either. And if you do, keep them in separate rooms. Moon, on the other hand, is a recluse who can hold his own. He's comfortable in any household because he will gladly throw hands if need be, though if it's a big animatronic, he might get himself banged up. Best way to approach. Sun and Moon should be approached differently, but as they're a 2-in-1, you have to do both together. Treat Sun with respect, don't talk down to him, and try to encourage him with hobbies he enjoys to take the stress off. Cooking, crafts, painting. Do those activities with him and you'll bond in no time. Well, as long as you can follow directions and are only creative during the creative portion. Moon? Try to avoid him as best as you can if he's acting aggressive. If he's just trying to spook you, take that time to get a little more accustomed to him and try to show him that you're both not afraid and that you're willing to be gentle with him too. Maybe you can win him over. Also, don't just flick the lights on when he's in a room unless you're cornered. That sudden shifting will hurt him. Now a word from a former daycare attendant. Arnold writes, "You should really take the daycare attendant home." Well, okay, he seems pretty confident. And I agree. While there's some challenges, Sun and Moon can make your days and nights very exciting, so consider opening your home to these two. Now we finally leave a Pizzaplex and go search for animatronics that you might find, out at an abandoned pizzeria, or at an auction, or in your backyard. And we start with a character who might resemble something from the Pizzaplex, but is a more reasonable size. I'm talking about Music Man. The animatronic who needs no introduction and yet still needs quite an introduction. And this is because surely you're thinking that I'm talking about the beloved DJ of the Pizzaplex. Oh no, he's not going anywhere from that building unless he breaks through the roof. And if he does, I don't expect him to come by and squat at your house. No, we're talking about an earlier model of Music Man. One more reasonably sized, but one unfortunately more dangerous due to his upbringing. You see, this Music Man looks an awful lot like a Funtime animatronic. Yeah, an Afton build. Ain't that something? So you're going to have your hands full with this one. Music Man is much less chill and much fussier than the DJ. Whereas the DJ will relax, play some music, spend a lot of the day napping, Music Man will spend a lot of his time practicing his cymbals, and will get grumpy if you interrupt him or make any noise during his cymbal smacking, and occasionally will decide that he's performing for you and that you need to give him your full attention. Otherwise, he's going to get angry. And when he gets angry, he starts slamming his cymbals. And when he gets really angry, those cymbals will start slamming closer and closer to your head. And don't expect deafness to be his goal. He's also a proud spider, he is. Proud and haughty. Expect him to be very critical about any music you make, though he has been known to try and teach others how to play instruments, and will keep the beat while you try to do so with his speaker and perpetual ambiance music. He won't appreciate you playing loud music unless you ask for his permission, and are willing to take his recommendation and criticism if he decides to rip the piece to shreds. Living space requirement. Music Man requires a sizable room to stay in, but once he's there, he won't need or want to be moved much, just as long as it's a room that gets attention, such as, again, the living room, or maybe a kitchen if your acoustics are good. Music Man is an enigma who both wants his designated space and cannot step out of the spotlight. So just set him up in a corner with moderately good traffic and expect him to hang out for a while. Yes, he can move on his own. Yes, he can break down doors. So don't go hiding him in a back room. He will make his way out and be none too happy. Risk assessment. Music Man can be dangerous due to his unexpected strength and persnickety personality. When all of his needs are met, he's getting attention, he's getting quiet time to perform, he's getting an audience, he will stay docile. If any of these needs are not met, he will steadily get more and more agitated. You'll recognize it from the steadily increasing angry slams of his cymbals. If that starts, you've got to locate the source of his agitation and put a swift stop to it. Cleaning and maintenance. Music Man is made out of chrome that's usually in well-kept condition, so you only need to spray him with cleaner and wipe him down as required. As for maintenance, he's a Funtime. He usually can survive anything. Technically you can open him up, but being a Funtime, you don't want to see what's possibly hiding under that plating. Odds are he'll stay fine as long as he's just kept clean. Behavior with other animatronics. Music Man doesn't get along well with any of the animatronics. He's generally impatient with all of them, especially the noisy ones. Your best chance would maybe be the Bidybab, since they keep their voices down and likely will avoid him. Mr. Hippo is going to start a war. He will not get the picture when Music Man's slamming his cymbals and just keep continuing to prattle on until an actual one-sided fight breaks out. The best way to approach. It's really just a balance of catering to Music Man's whims, listening when he asks, not playing music louder than him, not trying to drown him out with the TV, and showing him respect. In fact, call him Mr. Music Man or Maestro. That'll win him over fast. Here's a word from a Music Man owner. Clay writes, Music Man's a bit of a handful, I'll admit. But all things considered, he keeps the house a little less empty. And not only that, he also wakes me up in the morning with a few thumping chimes. Works better than any alarm clock. So there you go. He's a lot and a half, but maybe he's the jazz man you need to soothe your soul. Next up, we have another Funtime to add. And this isn't a speculatory Funtime, this is a real one. Funtime Foxy. Don't let the appearance fool you. This isn't the fondly remembered and ever popular toy Foxy or Mangle, though he can be just as eye-catching and dangerous if you let your guard down. Living it up as a showman and ringleader with no band left to back up for, Funtime Foxy finally has the spotlight to his own and will soak it up. But that doesn't mean he's safe. At best, he's very demanding, wanting you to attend each of his in-home shows and watch him perform. And if you do so, he'll warm up to you and be contented. But at worst, his programming might creep up and he can become aggressive, splitting his face open, twitching, stalking you around the house. And don't even think of shining a flashlight on him, that'll just stir him up more. The flashlight Foxy trick doesn't work on this one. The less attention you give him, the more that ringleader persona will slip into the rabid robot, and that robot is not built to have a fun time. Though there is a safety precaution. Funtime Foxy has a built-in floor anchor that'll root him in place, meaning, when activated, it won't allow him to move anywhere. Might scuff up your floor, but it will keep you safe. Or it would if you had any access to it. That floor anchor is locked to Circus Baby's directives, so unless you have a Circus Baby or an Ennard that's mimicking Circus Baby, you can't activate it. You could say it's pointless. Oh, also, one thing to keep in mind is that Funtime Foxy smells. Not necessarily bad, but he has a feature where he can release various scents from his tail, pizza, sweets, florals, whatever is needed to cover up certain less pleasant smells, meaning that your house will always smell good. He's a walking air freshener, but that might be a little too strong for those sensitive noses. He might also randomly mimic voices. Tell him he does a good job, but don't fall for it. All in all, Funtime Foxy is a risky mixed bag, but that's what you get when you get a Funtime in the house. Adapt to his behaviors and encourage his showmanship, and you might make it out in one piece. Living space requirements. Funtime Foxy only needs a moderate amount of space, but he will require a curtained show stage area. You can usually make that anywhere as long as you have a curtain that reaches fully from the ceiling to the floor. That includes shower curtain. You may also want to provide a whiteboard so that he can write down when he's preparing his next show. Elsewise, he might tell you and you might forget, or on rare occasions he might get confused and just assume you know. Whiteboards are a must, as is the curtain. Any flashing lights or strobe effects will set him off, so keep those away. Risk assessment. Funtime Foxy is a pretty marginal risk unless you take steps. Things such as attending each of his shows, watching out for odd behavior and avoiding him, and having at least one other animatronic in the house, hopefully one non-aggressive to you, will help keep the risk down. But as he is a Funtime, there's always a danger you'll have to avoid. Try to befriend him as fast as possible. It might take you off the menu. Cleaning and maintenance. Funtime Foxy can be cleaned as easily as a spritz and a wipe down, but you'll have to make sure you approach on a good day. He can get nippy if you try to clean without his agreement. As for maintenance, the Funtimes are notoriously sturdy bots, as I mentioned with Music Man, so you shouldn't have any issues. Foxy's more friendly on the outside of his place, so stay out unless something breaks down. Then hire someone else to do it. Behavior with other animatronics. Funtime Foxy is a showboater who will quickly put feelings aside and warm up to any animatronic friendly enough to attend his shows and throw some compliments. Animatronics who might fight for the limelight will be instantly turned into rivals, including Roxy and Music Man. And as both can hold their own, assume that if they ever get in a fist fight, they will destroy your house. Funtime Foxy does take very well to Ennard, but Ennard only partially reciprocates as he identifies Foxy as an imposter, though oddly enough, Ennard will not mimic Funtime Foxy as long as Funtime Foxy is in the house. Best person to pin with Funtime Foxy is Helpy, who will eagerly watch his shows and keep him nice and in character. Best way to approach. As I said, give him a makeshift curtain and stage, attend every show, no flashing lights, and if he starts acting squirrely, get out of there. Now here's a word from a Funtime Foxy owner. Ralph writes, I wasn't so sure about getting a Funtime Foxy at first, but I'm glad I did. He gets along great with my classic and rockstar Foxies, and he's even taken to the puppet Foxy prop I keep in the office. Foxy's always been my favorite, and Funtime Foxy's a welcome addition to the family, though he gets a little strange with kids, and he's always trying to mimic my voice when talking to my daughter. Make sure you have a good night guard to keep an eye on him. I recommend using a classic Foxy for the job. There you go. Funtime Foxy is an option. What else is there to say? Yes, he is very popular, but he's a Funtime. They're walking red flags, and those are flags stained with blood. Speaking of bundles of trouble, let's move on to the Funtime Fettuccine. If you're down to clown, Ennard. Ennard is a walking disaster. A replication of the original Funtime's horrible escape attempt, rebuilt by Fazbear Entertainment for some reason. And now, instead of upchucked into a sewer drain, it has decided to come and stumble into your house. Ennard is a complex case. It is not one animatronic, it is not four. It is one animatronic with 4 personality chips that is constantly fighting itself for control, because those personalities would belong to Circus Baby, Ballora, Funtime Freddy, and Funtime Foxy. Keep in mind that 3 of those characters were part of the failed Funtime service. Why Ennard is here is unclear. Maybe he's a failed prototype. Maybe another Funtime band who got the same idea. But that means that Ennard itself is pretty dangerous. It's at the mercy of whoever is behind the wheel. Is it the cold and manipulative Circus Baby? Is it the somber and sultry Ballora? Is it the joyfully cruel Funtime Freddy? Or is it the loud and proud Funtime Foxy? All of which are very capable of murdering you. All of which have their own ways of being dealt with, and one body that swaps between them randomly. So, in short succession, Circus Baby is bitter and conniving but likes to feel like she's in control, so if you're obedient and act brainless to her demands, she'll keep you alive to sustain her needs. She's always been like this, she's very predictable. Ballora is almost feral at times, defensive and aggressive, trying to protect herself, luring you in with a soft voice and waiting until you let your guard down. But she's had a hard life and if treated with care may remain docile. Funtime Freddy wants you dead. He wants to kill you in the most entertaining way possible. But if you prove yourself more fun to keep alive, either by being a partner in crime or providing something he needs to keep the fun going, he might resist the urge. And you already know about Funtime Foxy. Basically, always be on guard. Once you hear whose voice is coming out, you know how to deal with them. Circus Baby is soft-spoken, Ballora is warm and elegant, Funtime Freddy is shrill and giggly, and Funtime Foxy is loud and grandiose. And that's not even taking into account that he can also mimic voices. In the few moments where Ennard is dead silent, it either means that they're changing hands or none of the personality chips are currently in control. During those moments, stay on guard and keep your distance. We don't know how he reacts when nobody's behind the wheel. Living space requirements. It's best to have enough space to always give Ennard some amount of distance. Okay, so if I'm gonna list it off on my hand, Circus Baby personality will probably stay rooted someplace nearby and just watch you at a distance. Ballora will try to go into a back room and hide herself away and won't want to be approached. Funtime Freddy will just wander around and instigate whatever he can, and Funtime Foxy will, as I said, require his curtain and require you to come attend his shows. Shows that might not actually go on because Ennard might switch out of that persona before it happens. So just try to balance all of these things at once and you should be not quite good, but survive longer. Risk assessment, high. He's all four of some of the most dangerous animatronics ever built. Ones created specifically to murder. Maybe if you got all the personality chips out, he'd be more zombie-like and docile, but there's no way they'll let you get that far. And even if you do, you don't know that's what's really gonna happen. Cleaning and maintenance. Nope. Behavior with other animatronics. Funny enough, when Ennard is in the house with an active Funtime Foxy, he will stop emulating him. He does seem somewhat wary of Funtime Foxy, identifying him as a fake, but they do seem to get along well enough. Well, better than the actual Funtimes, hilariously enough. Other than that, Ennard tends to naturally keep his distance from others, especially Jackie and Dollie. Don't keep them near each other or they'll start fighting the second you turn your back. And I mean really fighting. Don't leave them alone. Molten Freddy is a similar case. They get their wires tangled up and get into mini spats and altercations all the time. Less violent ones, but you'll hear their echoing through the air vents at 2 a.m. Best way to approach. Like I said, adapt to the personalities as best as you can. There's a slim chance you could perhaps prove that you're worth keeping around, that you're not just a skin suit, but a house to hide in. Oh god, yeah, I forgot to mention that part. I normally wouldn't recommend this, but maybe unload him the first chance you get, but in a safe way. You dump him somewhere, and you better believe he'll find his way back and crawl up while you're trying to watch TV, and then likely kill you. But who knows? I don't even know. I'm just going off the fun times. Ennard here is a complete mystery. He's uncharted territory. Of all the animatronics I've met and encountered, there's been nothing like him. Nothing has ever adapted to survival like this thing has. I don't think you could kill it, but I know it could kill you. Also, he loves deviled eggs. Here's a message. Helpy writes, "Please don't bring Ennard home. I have too much to live for." Well, looks like if you survive this long enough, you'll be the one providing the review for Ennard. That's something worth holding out for, eh? Anyway, we have one more remnant of Circus Baby's failed brand, and that's her little backup babies. The Bidybabs, or more specifically in your case, a Bidybab. Bidybabs are aggressive little ankle biter babies that used to work under the baby, Circus Baby. But they've been abandoned, left behind after the fun times escaped, and then pretty much erased from most of Fazbear's history. But maybe they just need a gentle hand to pat them on the head? Bidybabs range from mischievous to outright aggressive. They might steal your shoes and hide them somewhere. Or they might try to trip you down the stairs, and then run down to gnaw on your feet. You accidentally kick one walking through the house at night, and you might invoke a rage unlike any you've ever seen before, putting even Balloon Boy the Hobgoblin to shame. But at the end of the day, it is a small baby doll. Maybe with a little love and patience towards those grumpy little guys, they'll accept you. Circus Baby wasn't exactly nice to them. In fact, they were more than a little afraid of her. They knew what she was capable of. Maybe if you can wear them down a little with patience, treats, and toys, just maybe they'll warm up. Also, a warning. You have a very slim chance of getting an electrobab instead. They won't shock you or anything, don't worry. But they will sap your electricity, which could lead to lights flickering, appliances and electronics getting fried, and huge electric bills. If you get stuck with one of those, you'll have to basically wrap them up in plastic and cross your fingers. Living space requirements. Bidybabs are tiny little things, so they don't require much space at all. Though I try to limit any hiding spots they can get into, like cabinets. For some reason, they become more bold if they can huddle away into the shadows. I have a theory as well. I think a bassinet would be the perfect way to show your little Bidybab that they can be loved and comforted. Get your little dollies a baby bed and make tuck-ins a regular thing, and maybe that will dissuade them from roaming around and acting up at night. It's always worth a shot. Risk assessment. Now, Bidybabs can be rather aggressive, but they're not very big. The biggest risk is if they get a hold of weapons, but as long as you lock up the utensil drawer, the worst thing they can do is whip open their plates and bite onto your legs. Resist the urge to kick them, as retaliation may encourage them to become more vicious. Though don't be a pushover. Push them over. That's better. Cleaning and maintenance. Bidybabs can be cleaned easily, but they will get frustrated if you whip the wipes out and won't clean themselves. so you'll have to sit them down with a treat and clean them quickly. Buy their obedience, though I don't know what treats they would like. I wouldn't recommend candy when you're cleaning them. Maybe toys? Maybe plushies. Oh, but not plush babies. They hate those. And, those are also possessed and aggressive little buggers. So don't go taking those home. Maintenance on these guys is pretty difficult, but unlikely. They're pretty durable. If anything goes wrong, you'll have to find a Faz tech to fix them up anyway. Behavior with other animatronics. Shockingly enough, Bidybabs get along well with two kinds of animatronics. Helpy, who they will bully a little but still buddy with, and Ennard. Whether they're afraid of Ennard or recognize him as a circus baby or whatever, they'll follow around at his heels and listen to what he says. If he's in circus baby mode, he will boss them around. Elsewise, he will steadily try to outmaneuver them as they crawl around his feet. Bidybabs do not like Mr. Hippo's long-winded stories, and if he starts, they'll run and hide. So they pair very well together. You want well-behaved Bidybabs? Threaten to have Mr. Hippo tell them a bedtime story. They'll get in line fast. Best way to approach, be very patient. You treat it like an angry toddler. It's fussy, it's bitey, it doesn't like anything, and you're that anything. A small child who you can't put in timeout without a quick retaliation. Patience, support, high socks, locked drawers and cabinets, and don't hold it against them. You don't know what they've been through. Here's a few words from a Bidybab owner. Astrid writes, "My Farfar bought me a Bidybab on accident thinking she was a cheaper Buddytronic doll, and I'm so glad he did, because Bidybab is my best friend now. We make her clothes, and she looks so beautiful. We play games together, and I read to her. She bit a mean kid at school once, and I can't take her back anymore, but that's okay. She's never bit me. I love my Bidybab." There you have it. Don't buy one of Fazant's jacked up, marked up, hoity-toity dolls. Buy a Bidybab and make a difference in that itty-bitty life. Speaking of, next up is another little guy. Helpy. Helpy might not be the most helpful little bear due to his stubby body and small structure, but he sure as heck will try his best to help out in any way he can. Helpy is very friendly. He likes candy, playing games, doing easy chores, climbing on stuff, though this is a bad idea, and not being treated like a weakling while also being babied. He also has a mischievous streak. Keep any air horns, loose sauce packets, or glue away from him, even glitter glue. He won't ever do anything to actually hurt you, but he does know how to be annoying. Which is all the more reason to be nice to him and make sure he's distracted with games and goodies. He can also help you work on any paperwork, especially if it's legal paperwork or taxes, as he's up to date on most legal loopholes and has a built-in calculator. Let's just say that the help Helpy was really made to provide is part of the reason why he can cover up tax fraud but can't get himself easily down a flight of stairs. Speaking of, living space requirements. Helpy is quite small and equally fragile, so keeping him away from stairs or long falls of any kind is a must, and exceedingly difficult since he will try to climb up on furniture to meet you on your level. It's best to sit down whenever you're spending time with him so he doesn't feel compelled to climb up and end up falling. Other than that, Helpy doesn't need a lot of room, but he'll get lonely if he's kept separated from you for too long. You may be required to get a tiny bed for him in your bedroom just so you won't wake up to him clunking his head on the floor while trying to climb into your bed. Keeping a TV on tends to help this, though be careful giving him access to the remote or he might turn the volume up full blast to get your attention. Risk assessment. Oh, Helpy is no risk. Well, no. Huge risk. Not for you, for him. He's prone to getting hurt, if I didn't make that clear enough. He might put a little strain on your mental health though since he needs a bit of hands-on work. Cleaning and maintenance. Cleaning Helpy is easy. Spritz with spray, wipe down. If anything gets in his eyes, spritz them down and wipe. As for maintenance, oh boy. So chances are you have a 50-50 shot here. If you have a normal Helpy, he has a risk of getting damaged, but you don't really have any way to fix him. You'll have to take him to a technician if he has any hard falls or glitches. But if he's a specialty Helpy, specifically a health and safety training bot Helpy unit, he's going to have a lot more things breaking. And that's by design. Those units are made to be worked on, to teach workers how to perform first aid on guests and administer stealthy NDAs via treats with fine print on the wrapper. These Helpies you will be able to repair on your own, Or more specifically, you'll have to buy the parts and repair them on your own because they will break down regularly. In fact, if you acquire a Helpy, check its bottom for the health and safety stamp, or any residue that might look like it. Once you know he is one, go online and buy repair parts in bulk, extra eyes, extra lungs, Helpy-sized splints and specific medicines. There's some tools you can provide on your own, but you'll need a full spread so that you're prepared when the big day comes. You will also definitely want to invest in a calming gas machine, but know that they can get pricey. Oh, and a Helpy helpful training and repair scanner. Most procedures you'll be able to find out with the scanner. Just go slow, be careful, and put your little buddy back together. Oh, and make sure you grab a bag of candy. He'll need a pick-me-up afterwards. Behavior with other animatronics. Unfortunately, Helpy's cheerful behavior may rub some animatronics the wrong way. Bots like Glamrock Freddy, Chica, and Sun might eat up the energy and demand for attention, while bots like Monty, Roxy, and Moon might be tempted in kicking him across the room, resulting in you having to perform impromptu surgery. Oof. If you know the animatronic's personality, whether they're friendly or easily annoyed, you'll be able to tell whether or not Helpy will get along. Nurse Dollie and Helpy pair up well. In fact, if you can get your hands on a Dollie, then you won't need to perform any surgeries on Helpy. Once you show her how to do it, she'll be able to replicate it well. They're a cute pair, though Helpy may get grumpy when Dollie gets his name wrong. For some reason, she really thinks his name is helpful. Best way to approach: be nice, be courteous, give him plenty of toys and trinkets to distract him, keep away the noisemakers, and do your best to baby-proof the house. But don't ever call it baby-proofing, or he'll get extremely sad, and might retaliate in the goofiest ways. Here's a word from a former Helpy owner. Mike writes, "Helpy always had my back, and he'll have yours too. Just look out for him, and for the love of God, keep him away from trampolines." So there you go, Helpy's a little glass sculpture with a heart of gold. Things are going to break, but don't let that be that little heart. On to the next stranger to intrude on your home, we've got Mr. Hippo. Mr. Hippo is warm, friendly, compassionate, and always down to sit and talk. Maybe over a cup of coffee, even though he can't drink it. Or even feed ducks at the park, even if he really shouldn't be seen in public. Though you can take him outside because Mr. Hippo isn't dangerous. If he sees someone at the park, he'll just wave, walk over, tell them what bread they should use to feed the ducks, tell them about the best bread for a sandwich, tell them about his favorite sandwiches, what sandwiches his friend Orville would like, why Orville can't hold the sandwiches, why elephant hands are weird, why animatronics have different hands depending on the version, then the various versions of every single animatronic character, including himself, and the Glamrocks, and what a Glamrock is, and which Glamrock likes sourdough bread. I think you get the point. Mr. Hippo is a delight. But he's also a chatterbox, and not just talking a lot. He will go on these long-winded stories that circle the airport without committing to landing. And when they do, you don't know where the heck you are. Keep that in mind before letting this kindly grandpa in. He'll tell you a whole lot, and he won't catch the hint that you're getting too much. Living space requirements. He pretty much needs the same space as a human roommate would. He tends to hang out in areas that get a lot of traction, like the living room or dining room. He likes watching TV, he likes reading, and he can enter sleep mode sitting upright on a couch. Just make sure there's not enough clutter for him to trip over. Risk assessment. Unless you count him wandering into your room at odd times of the night and suddenly starting to talk, waking you out of a dead sleep, scaring the daylights out of you, then not so much of one. He's very docile and polite, but he's not great with timing. Cleaning and maintenance. Now, Mr. Hippo is an animatronic with a fabric suit, meaning he requires more care than just a wipe down. He needs to be kept mostly dry and can be spot cleaned and sprayed with fabric deodorizer if he gets musty. Minor maintenance can be performed if you know what you're doing, but the only real issue Mr. Hippo might have is his internal battery going out. If that happens, you can connect him to a car battery to keep him going while you order a part online. But keep in mind that due to him being an older model, it might be a while before you can find a working replacement. Behavior with other animatronics. Mr. Hippo is friendly with pretty much everyone, but his overbearing behavior can get on their nerves. Roxy's going to get snippy. Sun's going to have a mental breakdown. And I know at least 3 animatronics who are going to just thrash him. I think the only one who genuinely appreciates Mr. Hippo for all he is other than Helpy, who pretty much tends to get along with everyone as well, would be Monty. So they're a good matchup for a household if you have the option. Best way to approach. Mr. Hippo will probably be your best buddy the second he walks in, so just try to be patient with him and see if you can set him up with some hobbies to cut back on some of that energy. The energy he usually puts into rambling nonstop. Now here's a word from a former Mr. Hippo friend. Orville writes, Mr. Hippo is the most loyal and caring friend a person can have. Let him into your home and he will brighten your day with his sunny disposition and fanciful tales. And that's that. Mr. Hippo is by all accounts a safe choice for a roommate, but keep in mind his overbearing personality before you commit to moving him in. On the flip side, we have what might be Mr. Hippo's opposite, though who has a similar chatterbox disposition, though you might not like what this thing's going to say. I'm talking about Molten Freddy. Now you may say, God almighty, how did I even get into this situation? Then you'll say, isn't this just Ennard? And nope, Molten Freddy is his own thing. And his own thing is, unfortunately, a very unraveled version of Funtime Freddy. Funtime Freddy is the one in control, the face of the operation, and the lack of exterior parts or usable legs hasn't slowed him down at all. In fact, it's made him even more of a snake. Literally, he's got nothing to lose. He can easily slip into the shadows and down the drains, hiding away from society, slinking out and taking victims at will, which means he doesn't need a house to live in. Staying with you is a luxury, not a necessity, which makes him even more dangerous because bribery was really the only way to keep Funtime Freddy in line. You have less to offer now. Watch your back, don't do much to tick him off, and try to match energy. Whether it be engaging when he starts cryptically talking about ways to die, or how he would drag someone off, though not enough to give him any funny ideas, or planting the idea that your home could be a sort of safe zone to duck responsibility for his murders. Look, I'm not going to tell you to encourage Molten Freddy. He's a monster through and through, but I am giving you permission to talk your way out of a swift death by any means. It's not exactly easy to stop this guy unless you're planning on locking him in a basement and setting the house on fire. On that note, the only real way to guarantee any form of security is to make sure that you aren't alone in the house with him. Having an animatronic on your side is a must. Even if it's one not on your side, it might be worth it since Molten Freddy is so off-putting that he makes enemies easily. So, living space requirements. Make sure you have enough room to put space between you and him, and make sure you have at least one animatronic. Hopefully one that doesn't want you dead. The more the merrier, because as bold as Molten Freddy is, the one thing he can't take on is a squad of highly advanced robots stomping out his wires. He also can't get wet and thus should be kept out of the bathroom, especially since humidity can get into his wiring and make him struggle. Hey, I said he wanted you dead, not that you shouldn't care about his well-being. That's just courteous. Make sure to lock your bedroom door so he doesn't slide in and strangle you in your sleep, though. Risk assessment high. Don't trust or turn your back on this guy, and only be friendly if the plan is to whittle him down from trying to murder you. He may look frail, but he's not. He can overpower you very quickly. Cleaning and maintenance. Molten Freddy is dirty and broken, and it's not your problem. He is so incredibly busted up that he's past the threshold of breaking down and is now just in this sort of zombified state. So don't worry about repairs. We're way past that point. As for the filth he's coated in, you won't get away with cleaning the source. Not only because getting close will risk putting you in his constriction zone, but because I'm rather certain that any form of fluid, wet wipes, even those fast-drying air sprays, actually hurt him. Yes, don't let his laughter fool you. He isn't feeling great in that body. The only option is more so to clean up after him. Whenever you see weird smudges, drag marks, or suspicious puddles of red or brown, you should just throw on dish gloves and wipe it right up. Best to not keep that stuff in the house too long. Don't ask, don't tell. Behavior with other animatronics. Molten Freddy is odd around other animatronics. He doesn't tend to like them all that much, but he will provoke them for no discernible reason. He pals around with Funtime Foxy, but the bond isn't mutual, and Funtime Foxy will often ignore him, leading to petty acts of retaliation like Molten Freddy tearing down his curtain. He'll stalk Ennard around, get tangled up with him, and then start feuding with him. He'll flat out attempt to antagonize both Jackie and Dollie, which will usually pull them right out of character. He's also got a weird fixation on other Freddys, such as Glamrock Freddy and Helpy, neither of which appreciate him creeping around talking about how good their faces would look as his mask. That being said, having other animatronics to dissuade and distract Molten Freddy is a must, no doubt about it. Best way to approach: do not. If he approaches you, you watch your back and try to entertain him, to give him reason to not be tempted to take you out. Don't get short or mouthy with him unless you know it's funny enough to get a cackle out of him. And maybe consider buying a taser, though know that to use it you have to get pretty close, and quite tangled. Here's a blurb from a former Molten Freddy owner. Elizabeth writes, "He is the most disgusting creature I have ever met. He is a backstabber, a usurper. He will pretend to be your friend and then go behind your back and steal everything from you. Have mercy and set him on fire." Sounds like someone got burned. But moving along, yeah, I don't recommend Molten Freddy. Now, let's say you somehow end up anywhere near the abandoned Murray's Costume Manor, wherever it is. It seems to have disappeared off the map, but let's say you somehow found the location. You likely didn't find anything inside, and if you did, you, probably are walking out fused with a mascot. You became your own animatronic companion. Well, sort of. The point is, listening to this, you must have left, and likely after a week or two later, something wound up following you home. And it was likely one of two figures: a strange legless clown or a gigantic doll nurse. Starting with the clown, Jackie, also known as Jackie in the Box. Jackie is a little bit unwound. She is a handful, and a big one. Not acting quite like the character-filled animatronics so far, Jackie has a way of acting like she's acting like a clown character. It feels like a facade. But she will stay in character. And what's that character? Well, at times goofy, sometimes clownish and childish, wanting to play and pretend to hide in spaces she can barely fit into, crawling and clambering around your house, since I doubt she's still in her box, singing nursery rhymes and being bouncy and lively. And at other times, Jackie might switch, her character might slip, and she might start becoming aggressive. Her voice will distort, and she'll start literally throwing hands towards your head, and if you don't get her back in character, it could quickly spiral out of control. Oh, she also might demand ice cream and cake to eat. You can shovel some into her mouth, and that should make her happy for a while, but it will make a pretty big mess. But if it's between her trying to outright attack you and you having to clean cake off and out of her mouth, go with the cake. She's unstrung and unhinged, and you don't have a box to hold her. You gotta watch this one, she's not right. Living space requirements. Don't let her fool you, Jackie is a big girl and will take up a lot of space, especially if you do have her box, which, good on you, you might be able to keep her a little contained at times. Though she can easily pop herself out. She doesn't seem to care about the size of the space. She will force her way through anything. But she will get bored easily, and that will lead to her slipping. Make sure to keep her surrounded with party supplies, toys, bouncy music, things to remind her that she's a birthday clown. In fact, just put on some cartoons. That'll help considerably. Locking doors won't do much, so don't even try, or else she might have to break in. Risk assessment. High. Jackie is a loose cannon. Don't let the broken form fool you. No legs, no problem. As long as she thinks she's Jackie and believes totally that she is Jackie, she's safe. She's a goofy clown. But let her get bored, let her get annoyed, let her get into her head, and he's coming out swinging. Do your due diligence. Cleaning and maintenance, don't. You can maybe get away with wiping off her face or hands, especially if she tries to eat cake. She loves cake and will chomp down on it even though she technically can't eat. But anything more than that, no, don't get too touchy, and don't worry. No matter how much of her exterior decays on the outside, she will be fine. Though, do try to keep the mask intact. That'll make the mindset stick. Behavior with other animatronics. Jackie doesn't necessarily get along with many of the other animatronics. She's too enthusiastic, especially with characters like Sun, Moon, and Ennard. She will get locked in on clowns and make the scariest ones increasingly uncomfortable. No, I'm not kidding. We all think she's a bit much. She would get along with Dollie, but for some reason, they won't be active at the same time. One will always be like an empty husk when the other's up and moving. Keep that in mind. Probably would get along with Bidybab and Helpy. They're small, non-threatening to her specifically, and would probably play with her. Though Helpy might need some encouragement to actually get into it. Best way to approach. Make up a room with birthday supplies, a table, toys, balloons, and routinely replace the balloons and play bouncy music. Move a TV in there to play cartoons and the like. Just make the perfect area to keep Jackie in the correct headspace. Then just treat her nicely, play games with her, and be very, very cautious. You're not taming a wild beast, you're dampening a lit fuse. And every time it gets too dry, it sparks back to life. Here's a message from Jackie's former owner. Fiona writes, Jackie was created to be the perfect embodiment of childhood joy and birthday parties. The perfect clown who sings, bounces, and hands out gifts, and that is what you will get as long as he keeps his head. Take care of him. I can't anymore. And there you are. Jackie is a risky gamble, but if you're a big fan of clowns and ready for a wide-reaching commitment, there you go. At least it keeps her off the street. But she's not the only Murray's character here, as I mentioned. You also have a chance of finding a Nurse Dollie. Nurse Dollie is one of the sweetest and most caring bots you'll meet when she's fully submerged in character. When she is, she's a helpful attendant who wants to dote on others and take care of them. Though she has a clumsy streak and has some weird feet, and unfortunately some electrical pads planted to her palms that might accidentally go off. Though she's usually really good at controlling them. Unlike Jackie, she has an easier time staying in that mindset as long as she has someone to take care of. But she too may lapse into confusion and aggression if she slips. Then that's when she might smack you away from her, and that would probably result in a firm shock. But at the very least, she will take care of you afterwards. Dollie's very one-track minded. She can't often be distracted from her duties or she will start to slip, so it's best to have some easy tasks ready. Folding clothes or washing them, watching medical dramas, practicing on medical dummies, get one of those or it'll be you, so that she stays nice and distracted. Also, due to the shock pads on her hands and her constant need to take care of people, if you're with an exceptionally dangerous animatronic like, say, Molten Freddy, and he starts to attack you, Nurse Dollie would be a perfect bodyguard, as with a single swat of her hand she could shock him into submission. And then check up to make sure that you were still breathing. Living space requirements. Dollie needs a good amount of space and a good clear walkway for her jaunting, leg-swinging walk. Other than that, though, she doesn't seem too picky about how that space looks. Though if you have white tile in the kitchen or bathroom, she might try to congregate in there. In a perfect world, you would be able to afford decking a room out to make it look like a fake hospital room, and keep her satiated with it. But a realistic or real hospital bed is gonna cost an arm and a leg, even secondhand. And forget about redoing the walls and floor. Her funky metal feet might scuff up wood floors or tear carpet, so keep that in mind. You might want to somehow make her booties or covers something to get around in. Maybe slippers. Risk assessment. Like Jackie, Dollie will become a risk if she slips in any regard, but otherwise she's pretty nice. It seems a little easier for her to get out of her headspace, but Dollie will remain docile much longer than Jackie will, usually only lashing out if you get too close when she's out of character, so when that happens, pretend to bump your knee and ask for help. It'll click her right back into place. She might even let you choose the MCM-themed band-aid she uses. Cleaning and maintenance. Dollie can be wiped down, but sprays should be avoided unless they're quick dry specifically because of her metal body. She can rust easily and has a lot of hard joints to clean. Her skirt can be removed and hand-washed. Repairing her is off the table. First off, she won't ever get into a state of non-functioning, and secondly, trying to get into her suit at all will result in him becoming very defensive. So don't. Behavior with other animatronics. Dollie is very kindly to the others, and super passive. She'll get along with any animatronic not wanting a squabble, but might annoy easily irritated animatronics. Helpy gets along well with her, and she will take over repair care for him. Glamrock Bonnie too might appreciate the care. Monty will show off to her, she doesn't notice. And she really likes Sun and Moon, but they're very wary of her. Finally, like I said, if she and Jackie are in the same house, they will flip back and forth who is up and active, but neither will be awake at the same time. Best way to approach. It's not hard. Just be cordial and try to keep her in character through gentle support. And if you can get a cheap hospital bed, start sleeping in it. She might be a little much, crowding you, but her seeing you as a patient is a lot better than what he might see you as. Now a word from a former Dollie owner. Oh, we've got Fiona again. Fiona writes, Dollie was designed as the perfect caretaker, cute as a button, a gentle touch. She can be that, and if you return that to her, he will replicate it accordingly. Please, please take care of him. Well, there we have it. Now on to the last thing. One last thing. The chances of you seeing this being are slim. It's only shown up once or twice, and really the only way it could possibly find its way to your house is if you somehow let it there. But it happened somehow, and let's say he showed up to your home. He let himself in. The yellow rabbit. It's not him, but a very close shadow. We call him Pittrap. Pittrap is a demented version of Spring Bonnie and a distorted reflection of William Afton and his murders. He isn't Afton, but his whole being is a creation of those violent acts. A memory brought to life in tangible form, and when it's not killing or kidnapping, it displays some odd behaviors. Such as driving a car, sitting and having family dinners with you, tucking you in with a bedtime story, and then prowling your house, growing aggressive if it spots you out of bed. And yeah, don't let the bunny exterior fool you. He's hiding a lot of sharp teeth in there, and he could kill a full-sized human in seconds if he so desires. And he always desires. But for some reason, he has adopted these quirks where he basically becomes a sort of father figure, or the faintest resemblance of one. Perhaps just as William Afton himself often pretended to be a father figure, even if his children often came below him on the totem pole. Play along and you might keep him in his strange caretaker mode. Don't be aggressive, don't leave your room after being put to bed, and play dumb, but also always watch your back. If you're ever in a room alone with him, which you will be, as he will follow and watch you, make sure there's always some way to escape. Pittrap has great hearing but poor vision. If you get in a situation where he's acting up and you can't escape the house, run and hide in your closet, under a bed, even under a table if it has a tablecloth. Hold your breath and wait. He might not see you. Just watch out for spiders. Also, don't worry about eating any dinners he cooks. He won't poison you. If he's going to kill you, it'll be a lot more vicious and violent and sudden. So don't turn away any food. If you do, you might set him off. You don't want that. Living space requirements. You'll want more space to give distance between you and him, but he can easily make his way around a normal domestic abode. The only thing he really needs is a sturdy enough dining room chair and perhaps a spare bed that he can just collapse back on. Or let him collapse on your bed. Remember, if he's asleep or just laying there, then he's not haunting you. Risk assessment. Don't let this seeming predictability and dad behavior fool you. Pittrap is extremely dangerous. What you're basically doing is buying time on a technicality. Can other animatronics protect you? Perhaps, but he can also hold his own. There's no getting through to him. There's no bartering with him. It's just a matter of survival with him. Cleaning and maintenance. I don't think that's required here. Sometimes Pittrap oozes black stuff out of the cracks in his suit, but you don't want to touch that. And if it gets on anything, be sure to use rubber gloves to clean it up. Don't touch it directly. Behavior with other animatronics. Something about Pittrap makes all of the animatronics deeply defensive and uncomfortable. They will avoid him. He will not acknowledge them. Some of them think they recognize him, but he doesn't seem to share that. He stares straight through everything that isn't you or another target. Best way to approach. Try not to. Only approach if it's to keep Pittrap in his docile dad mode, but otherwise keep your distance and watch your six. Now a message from Pittrap's former owner. Oswald writes, originally I really hated this thing. It just started living in my house, chasing me around at night and forcing me to eat steamed vegetables during the day. And it replaced my dad, but now I think It is my dad? I don't know, but at least he helps me with my homework. How in the hell did you get him to do that? Well, okay, I guess that's a possibility. But still, cross your fingers and hope you don't get saddled with this one. He's what everyone fears when they hear about haunted animatronics. He is the worst aspect of every dangerous animatronic, all combined into one terrible form. And that would cover the animatronics you may come in contact with for this tape. Okay, now to cover a few more important points. So, since this is the second tape, I'm going to only glaze over some repeated points. If you decide to get rid of your animatronics, you can do so at your own risk. Rehoming is the safest option, but you can also dump them off somewhere. But don't be shocked if they follow you home. Reaching out to Fazbear Entertainment is not recommended. They will ruin your life somehow, and ruin the lives of your animatronics. Some of which only just escaped the imprisonment of the Pizzaplex. They will not help you. In fact, if they reach out to you, consider that a warning to pack up and move, before you get wrapped up in some legal loopholes, red tape, and possible blackmail-level shenanigans. They won't help you without the shackles of a legal agreement, and they will keep up with you for years. You'd do better to dump off the animatronic in a landfill and have it chasing you for the rest of your life. At least they won't be able to drag you to court and start taking all of your assets, even if, by all accounts, they shouldn't be able to. They still will, they're just that crooked. Best option is to rehome the animatronics through an auction, either at the Rare Finds auction or a private auction online. Rare Finds will guarantee it's not a scam, but they will take a cut of the proceedings. Private auction will 100% go to you, but you have few protections, especially if it involves an exchange in a back alley. And trust me, if you go to exchange in a back alley and find a pack of unhomed animatronics waiting for you, you better start schmoozing your backside off and make sure they don't notice you grabbing your keys. And if it ever gets too much, the animatronics, Fazbear Entertainment, the money, the worry, the stress, remember, it's never too late to stage your death and escape the state. You'll never outrun the federal government, but you might at least outrun your robots and Freddy's lazy lackeys. Just please leave the doors open so the animatronics can at least have a chance to flee. Some of them may deserve to burn, Pittrap, but the others certainly don't. And heck, maybe take one or two with you. Time to start somewhere far away, like, I don't know, an abandoned cartoon studio out in Brooklyn, or a derelict toy factory in Michigan, or San Antonio. But that's most of the advice I can give you. Have any further questions, please look up tape number 1 for further ideas on removing animatronics from your home and keeping your nose out of Freddy's business. So, what's left to say? Good luck on your new living situation? Well, we'll get to that. But first, let's take a brief moment to prepare for your new life by playing a game. Don't worry, it's not a dangerous one. We're doing all of this inside of our imagination, and with some dice. A dice game. You roll on which animatronics you get, what events you get, and even character-specific scenarios, and craft an adventure that might give you a better idea on how all of this might go. You play through 7 events to simulate a week, but you can keep playing after those events. If you roll the same event twice, you can either come up with a continuation of the event or re-roll for a new one. For example, let's say you roll an event where Glamrock Freddy goes to the grocery store and knocks over a display of spray cheese. Then, if you roll the event again, you can do a continuation where you take someone else, or where Freddy goes back in and gets in a fight with the manager. And then Roxy sees the event through the walls, climbs out of your car, and pulls a Karen on said manager. You get what I mean. First off, let's roll on the animatronics you can get. Take a die and roll it 3 times, or roll 3 dice once, or one 20-sided die but then don't count the 1 and 2. Or just use an online dice roller, they're pretty easy to find. If you roll a 1 or 2, it doesn't count, re-roll. If you roll a 3, you get Glamrock Freddy. If you roll a 4, you get Glamrock Chica. 5, Monty Gator. 6, Roxanne Wolf. 7, Glamrock Bonnie. 8, the Daycare Attendant. 9, Music Man. 10, Funtime Foxy. 11, Ennard. 12, Bidybab. 13, Helpy. 14, Mr. Hippo. 15, Molten Freddy. 16, Jackie. 17, Dollie. And 18, Pittrap. Now roll again with 1 die. Even, and you get to roll for a second animatronic. Odd, and you stop there. If you roll the same animatronic twice, you won't get a second of the same, and will instead stop there for good. As long as you're rolling evens, you can keep rolling until you have a full house. Now, let's roll on the events. There are also character-specific scenarios. We'll cover those next. Starting with the basic events. If you roll a 3, you're getting cold feet and decide you can't handle living with your animatronic. Well, that happened fast. So, you put them on a private auction to rehome. You get in contact with someone who insists that they are in the market for a new roommate and ask you to meet them behind the get in, get out. You go, pull up, climb out of your car, and come face to face with a trio of animatronics who are looking for a place to stay, and will not take no for an answer. Congrats! Roll 3 more times and collect 3 more animatronics. You're welcome. 4 is a character-specific scenario. 5. You won a raffle and were selected to spend a 2-week vacation in a fabulous Faz Tower. You can even bring one of your animatronics with you. Choose real quick. Okay, except when you get there, you find that something's wrong. First off, the place is being controlled by a bunch of anime chicks on screens. And secondly, you think they're trying to kill you. They definitely put something in your food. Now back to your choice. Is your animatronic going to help you? Are they going to point and laugh? Or, oh goodness, is this the chance they've been waiting for to snuff you out? Are you getting out of this one? And, more importantly, will you enjoy your vacation? 6. While on a forum discussing the animatronics at Freddy's, trying to get intel, someone makes a posting saying that they've been looking to buy an animatronic. Oh no. It's happening again. Well, actually no. Because you look further into them and find out that they're a huge Freddy's fan. They will actually pay you a small fortune to buy an animatronic. But is it worth the risk? Would you actually sell one of your roommates to him? And more importantly, which one? In short, how screwed is this guy when he gets the bot you're unloading? If you do, of course. But that's a lot of money to turn down. Event number 7. Oh dear God. There's a toy Bonnie beating up a classic Bonnie in front of your house again. Do you send an animatronic out to deal with it? And are they able to do anything about it? Or do you wait until it clears up on its own? And if you do you invite the victor or loser inside to stay? If you have a Glamrock Chica, she can use her vocal screech to break up the fight and run the 2 off. But if you have a Moon, you're going to have to go out there and break it up because he's currently body slamming Toy Bonnie. Also, if you have a Molten Freddy, he will insist, and I mean absolutely insist, that you bring Toy Bonnie in. Check out my first tape to find out how to take care of a Toy Bonnie. If you roll an 8, you get another character-specific scenario. If you roll a 9, your pushy neighbor found out that you have at least one animatronic and is demanding that you have it perform at her kid's birthday party. Elsewise, she's reaching out to the local authorities and anyone else who will listen. That's bad. They'll take your bots, and they might give you a whopping huge fine on top of it. So what do? Do you send one of your animatronics over to the party? I suppose you have to. So do you go the safe route, or sabotage? Or do you take the sabotage up a notch and send over one of your less friendly animatronics to spook her into staying hush-hush? Event number 10. You have relatives coming. They want to have a reunion at your house. This is bad. You try to get out of it, but no. Now you have to hide your animatronics so that nobody sees them. For practically 8 hours. And there's gonna be kids. What do? Dump them off somewhere? Hide them in the crawl space? Give up the goat and bring them to the reunion? At least nobody will be asking you when you're gonna settle down anymore, but they'll have plenty of other questions. Like, hey, has anyone seen Timmy? Make a plan. Event number 11. The Spectral Scoopers are back in town, and they're offering $1,000 to anyone who can show them a haunted animatronic. So you take your most docile animatronic to a warehouse for an interview. Except, while the private interview is going on, they subdue and steal your animatronic. Turns out they're not the real scoopers, but criminals looking to steal and sell animatronics back to Faz Int. They escape in a van, but they stop at a motel the next town over. Now you and your other animatronics, if you have them, have to stage a rescue mission. But be careful. These guys have tasers and there's witnesses around. But if you don't save your bot tonight, you're going to lose them. How does it go? Event number 12 is another character-specific scenario. Event number 13. You're out at the Puppet Pancake Palace when you see something amazing. They're selling exotic butters. As you know, exotic butters are greatly admired by animatronics due to programming. Fazbear Entertainment programs them to act like the butter basket is great so they can push them on employees instead of bonuses or workers' comp payouts. You know that one basket of butters will guarantee you will become besties with any of your animatronics, even the ones who want to kill you. But all the others might get jealous. Do you buy the butters, or is it too risky? Event number 14. One of your animatronics snuck out last night and is still missing. You're going to have to go out and get them, but it won't be that easy. First, decide what animatronic it was. Go through your rooms and see which one it is. Now get in your car, or on your bike, or just on your feet, and go look for them. Now, before someone gets hurt, or if it's Helpy, he does. Now here's the tricky part. They could be at 4 locations, most likely. The closed-down pizzaplex outside of town, the junkyard, the old dumping lake, and that one house that everyone thinks is haunted. It's gotta be at least one of those. Well, here's the catch. You gotta flip a coin. Heads, and you find them. Tails, you fail. And if you fail 4 times, that's it. Your animatronic is gone for good. If not, huzzah! Now you gotta get your buddy home from wherever you found them. Every day is another adventure. Event number 15. The adventure you didn't want. You find yourself stuck somewhere far from home without a ride. Maybe you need someone to pick you up from the hospital, or a bar, or just on the side of the road. Your car is at home, somehow, and there's no taxi or Uber out there. You don't even have cell service, but you find a payphone, shockingly, and call home. One of your animatronics answers. You know if you don't come home, the house will be trashed and you'll be stuck sleeping in the wilderness. And then you'll get eaten by cougars. It's just gonna happen. You have to ask one or more of your animatronics to come rescue you. In your car. Oh dear. Who do you choose? Are they able to make it? Or do you cut your losses and sleep in the phone booth? You can also roll on if you survive or not. Roll a 16 is another character-specific scenario. Roll 17. You see an ad for a specialty mechanic online. Fazbear Entertainment certified. Hurrah! You hire them to repair one of your severely broken animatronics. They come by the next day and you are absolutely bamboozled when you realize that these technicians are broken down animatronics. You try to pry for answers, and one mutters something about the pizzaplex shutting down, because of course it did. Do you really trust these guys? Do you send them away, not wanting to risk it? Or do you let them work on your bots? And also, do you invite them to stick around? Or get them out of the house as fast as possible? Event number 18. A wild Funtime Chica has wandered up to your house and is demanding to be let in. You consider letting her in since, being a Funtime, she's a rare and very expensive animatronic. But something's off. She seems really giggly and keeps promising that she can make all your dreams come true in a very forceful way. And when you asked her about the necklace she's wearing, she ignored you entirely. Keeps telling you about how scared and alone she is. You decide that you can't let her in. She's too weird. What happens next greatly depends on who is in your house. If you have at least 2 Glamrocks, they escort her off of the premises and keep guard for the rest of the night. Even if they don't like you very much, they'll do this. If you have a Mr. Hippo, you can have him chat her up until she gets bored and leaves. Then just watch for the rest of the night and make sure she stays gone. But if you leave him alone with her, Funtime Chica will leave, but Mr. Hippo will now be wearing her necklace. If you have an Ennard or Molten Freddy, they will immediately attack her. The next day you will find them wearing parts of Chica's own casing. Not her necklace though. Something else slithered off with it. If you have a Jackie and Dollie, Funtime Chica will leave, but by the next day both Jackie and Dollie will be active at the same time, but one will now be very aggressive. Flip a coin on which one. And the two will constantly be in fights whenever you turn your back. And finally, if you have a Pittrap, he will come up behind you and stare her down. Funtime Chica will leave and never return. Looks like they know each other from somewhere. And that's the end of the basic events. Let's cover the character-exclusive scenarios now. When you get a character-specific scenario, you can actually choose which character and animatronic you want to do it through. And you can actually follow up on events if you feel like it. So let's go through every character. Glamrock Freddy. Glamrock Freddy's head popped off again, and this time his neck joint is done for. It's not going back on. So now you have Glamrock Freddy's loose head chatting you up and his detached body walking around aimlessly, because Freddy's connection to it is totally severed. Upon looking around online, you find out that there was a big Glamrock Freddy recall nearly 5 years ago, and not only that, due to a settlement involving a Freddy's head flying off and taking out a barista, Fazbear Entertainment is required to replace any Glamrock Freddy units free of charge. The catch is that they will take your Freddy to be dismantled, and no, they will not let you take out the personality chip. Glamrock Freddy is none the wiser. But could you betray him for a new model, dooming him for the furnace? Or will you live with the headless Freddy? Or do you have another plan entirely? Remember, rolling the dice with Faz Ent is a big risk. Also, if you have a Helpy, you could do something else, but it's very devious. You could remove his personality chip and put Freddy's in instead, thereby giving Freddy control of the body. But would you be willing to do that to this little guy? Glamrock Chica. Chica took a hard tumble while doing aerobics in the kitchen and slammed her head on the floor, and landed so hard on her beak that it broke off. Now she's got a giant hole in her face, and her voice box is seriously messed up. You look online for a replacement, but only find a cheap one from a completely different version of Chica. It will fix her face and allow her to talk again, but make her completely unable to eat, causing her to have severe withdrawals. Or you can keep her beakless and mute, save mechanical screeches, but she can still eat, which will keep her happier. You've probably got at least a month until a true beak replacement shows up, and you can get her fixed. So which option do you go for? Or do you just kick her to the curb? Monty Gator. A Fazbear representative just knocked on your door at 4 a.m. to inform you that due to recent laws passing and giving rights to animatronic persons, they can now be tried in a court of law. You then get a summons. Monty is being tried for the maiming and dismemberment of Glamrock Bonnie and golf-related embezzlement. You tell him, Monty is up front. He will not be found innocent. He wants to go on the lam. What do? Do you wish him happy trails and send him off, knowing that you might take the fall for letting him go? Do you go with him and start fleeing across the country with a giant rockstar gator children's mascot? Or do you encourage him to stay and face the music? Heck, do you hire a lawyer, or do you try to defend him yourself? Note, if you have Helpy, he might help with the paperwork. Roxanne Wolf. Roxy decided that she wanted to dye the green streak in her hair red. She doesn't trust anyone else to do it, but she's not used to the box dye you get her, and she ends up really messing up her hair. It's orange now. Orange. She's devastated. Her hair is her life, and she hasn't stopped crying. When you ask to help, she tells you to leave her alone, and you can. But maybe you can be a little pushy and help. You're risking a major blow-up if you're not careful, and maybe a clawed slap to the face, especially if you mess up. But if you help her, and you succeed, she will see you in a whole new light. She might finally let her walls down and open up to you about her self-consciousness and her looks. But that's if you can fix her hair. If you want a real challenge, you might need to roll evens and odds on it, or do a skill check, roll a 12-sided die and try to hit above a 7 or something. If you succeed, Roxy will be indebted to you for life. Otherwise, if you ruin her hair further, she might break your face. Glamrock Bonnie. Taking care of Glamrock Bonnie has been a bit of a handful, but you've become really close with him. You even fixed his voice box, so he's able to talk with you now and tell you what he needs. All seems well, but one day you're looking around online and find someone who is selling parts from Glamrock Bonnie's model. You could fix his torso and arms, allowing him more movement. It would totally turn his life around, and the guy says he might be able to get new legs too. But something's shady about all this. Do you go ahead and set up the deal? Decide. Okay, if you did, roll. Even and Bonnie's been spruced up to have arms and a torso again. Odd, and he's spruced up, and also now hacked by Glitch Trap. Gotta be careful with secondhand parts, but how much damage can he do with no legs? You'd be surprised. The daycare attendant. Choose whether to do the sun or moon event. You can only do one per roll. Sun. You find out that the local daycare is closing down due to a lack of workers, lack of funds, lack of everything. That's unfortunate. But maybe it would be a good outlet for all of Sun's pent-up energy. You could drive him there in the late morning and pick him up in the afternoon, and you might make some moolah out of this. But Sun is a little hesitant. He was worked so hard at the Pizzaplex without rest, and what is he going to do at nap time? What do? Do you encourage him, or do you call it off? And how does it go? Moon. Moon has been more grumpy recently. His sinister cackles have lost their luster, and now he greets you with a lot more bitterness. But you notice something. How he's dragging around. That time he collapsed in your hallway and blacked out for 30 minutes. You figure it out. He's exhausted. Keeping Sun out all the time is keeping them awake and wearing Moon down. This should be a good thing, right? Sun seems fine and Moon is too tired to do anything. But you kind of feel bad for him. Do you take advantage of this situation and leave him like this, or do you extend the lights out time and allow him to rest? Maybe if you do, he'll return to his old ways. Or maybe this could be the start of a friendship? Or tolerationship? Let's find out. Music Man, the parade is in town. You notice it while you're out and decide to stop and watch. There's parade floats, and horses, and a marching band, and a giant mechanical spider. Oh no, that's not your Music Man, is it? You know it must be. How on earth are you going to steal him away? Spook the horses? Wait until the end of the parade? Also, if you do succeed and get him home, was he actually your Music Man? Or is your house about to be a lot louder? And to clarify with what I said earlier about not getting duplicates, yes, you can get 2 Music Men. But why would you want that? Funtime Foxy. Funtime Foxy wants to put on a show for the neighborhood in your backyard. This is a terrible idea. You know it. I know it. Inviting a bunch of people to ogle at a murderous machine made to distract for kidnapping kids is a recipe for trouble. Not to mention that you housing Funtime Foxy is supposed to be a secret. But, would make you a pretty penny. What do you say? Is it worth taking the risk? Funtime Foxy ain't gonna be happy if you don't. But can you trust him to be on his best behavior? Ennard. You woke up to Ennard standing over your bed. Always a good start. He's become aware that he's actually one animatronic programmed to act like he's 4, and he's fed up with it. He's tired of constantly fighting with himself, and he wants to become whole. That is, he wants you to tinker with him and turn him into one character. You have 5 choices. You can turn him into the quiet and cunning circus baby, the elegant and sultry Ballora, the boisterous and sinister Funtime Freddy, or the loud and proud Funtime Foxy. Or you can suggest taking out all of the personality chips and leaving whatever's left to be there. But that's a gamble. You don't truly know what the real Ennard is. He might be the most dangerous of all. Do you go with one of the devils you know, or do you take the risk on the butter clown? Optional roll here. You can come up with your own decision on Ennard's personality if you take that last option, but if you want to gamble a bit more, roll 1 through 6 die. Roll 1 to 2, he's a soft-spoken sweetie. Roll 3 to 4, he's a sarcastic cynic. Roll 5 to 6, he's completely feral. Bidybab. You wake up to scuffling in the attic crawlspace. Oh no, the raccoons must be back. And they're angry. You grab the broom and go to check, only to find something shocking. It's not raccoons. It's your Bidybab, and it's fighting an intruder, a random plush baby. Bidybab tells you to help her. Plush baby insists you help her, and that she's the much cuter doll, and that she'd make a much better companion. Bidybab begs you to help her instead. Well, what do? Bidybab's been a handful, but maybe she'll be thankful if you help her. But plush babies are pretty popular. Maybe she'll be less mischievous. Or maybe you can run both of them off through the attic window. Or leave them and go back to bed. Leave it up to chance. It's your choice. Helpy. Helpy is bored, restless, and depressed. He's tired of being stuck in the house all the time. He wants to go to the park. Yeah, he's a tiny animatronic. People will only think it's a little weird, but you can get away with it, right? Well, he's really wanting to go, so you take him to the park. You watch him go down the slide, watch him swing, watch him hop across the monkey bars, watch him fall and clunk his head. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh no. Helpy is not doing good. You have to do emergency surgery there, in the park, in the middle of all those kids. Can you do it? Or will you risk it and rush home instead? If you do it, you'll have to hurry before the cops get there. If you don't and rush home, Helpy's definitely losing an eye. What do you do? What do you do? Mr. Hippo. Mr. Hippo has been pretty glum lately. He's not as chattery as usual, and while that'd normally be something worth celebrating, this seems very odd. You ask him what's wrong, and he reveals that he misses his best friend, Orville Elephant, who burned in a Freddy's fire some years ago. He asks you if you'll take him to the site of the fire, and you agree, driving all the way out. But when you get there, you find out 2 key things. 1, the severely burned Orville is alive. 2, so are a bunch of other animatronics that were fueled by the agony of the fire. Do you shrug and drive off, Or do you and Mr. Hippo team up and fight your way through to take Orville home, all while fighting off severely burned animatronic zombies? Make your choice. This might be the last one you ever make. Molten Freddy. Molten Freddy disappeared for a couple of days, but much to your dismay, he's returned, and he brought news. He found something at the junkyard, a body, a Funtime Freddy body, and he wants you to help him get into it. At first you agree because you hear Funtime Freddys are a little easier to manage and because it might make him less bloodthirsty. But when you get to the junkyard, you discover that the body he has found is weird. This Funtime Freddy is lacking a bonbon hand puppet, and it's huge. You could probably fit in its belly. Molten Freddy promises you that if you do this, he will be your bestie forever. But even if he is, this might make him more dangerous to others. Or maybe he's lying. Do you take the gamble and help Molten Freddy get into the big fun time, or do you try to secretly sabotage his efforts? Jackie. Jackie's bored and is insisting you two play a game. She has chosen hide and seek. She hides, poorly. You find her, she says no fair, and hides again. And it seems to be going well, but after 5 times of this, Jackie is starting to shift. Her voice is going off and she's becoming frustrated, slamming her fists around and demanding one more time. This is getting out of control. Do you try to talk her down into playing another game? Do you refuse to play any longer, or do you pretend that you can't find her and that she won? You'll have to be convincing though. If Jackie thinks you're lying, she might really lose her temper. It's your call. Dollie. Dollie's been singing a lot recently. It's always the same song. At first it was cute, but now it's always the same song. Over and over again. Oof. What are you going to do? Do you dare ask her to stop? Or do you try some wacky scheme to play another song so much that she gets attached to that jingle instead? Fully aware, of course, that she's going to be singing that one non-stop. Or do you pretend that her singing is hurting you? She'll stop, but that seems kinda mean. It might lead to some out-of-character behavior. It's your choice. Pittrap. One night, Pittrap gestures for you to come to the front door with him, and then lets himself outside. You rush out to stop him and catch him getting in your car. You're forced to get into the back, so that you're not too close. He drives for a long time before stopping outside a pizzeria? Yeah, a basic pizzeria. Closed for the night. He parks the car and gets out, walking around back and letting himself in the back door. You follow behind him, through the dining room to a dirty back room. There you come face to face with a gross old ball pit blocked by caution tape. Pittrap walks over to it and tears down the yellow tape before looking back at you. He stares silently. Then he beckons you, and then climbs inside and disappears. At this point, you could just leave. He left your car keys in the car. You could go right now and maybe lose Pittrap for a while. But you can hear music leaking out through the plastic balls. Do you climb inside? I can't tell you what will happen if you do, and whether or not it'll be magical or terrible, or that this is the one way to get rid of Pittrap for good. But I will say, there's a good chance you might not return. Enter at your own risk. And there you go! Looks like you're all set to practice before you pick up your new roommates. And by pick up, I mean look outside and see them standing on your lawn. Once you make eye contact, you're sorta stuck with them. But it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, this time around, a lot of these animatronics are friendlier than ever and just want you to give them a better life. Or at least, take them off the street. And the ones who don't, well, it's probably better that they're not on the street to begin with. Good luck, make good choices, and God willing you get at least one Glamrock to be on the lookout while you sleep. You can do this. And remember to smile. This is the first step to your and their new chapter. So make sure not to show them any fear. Thank you for listening.